Hello everyone, I hope you can hear me. Just confirm in the chat window if you can hear me well. All right. Okay, I can see you all have joined with your original name, but I can see there is a one who has joined with the mobile name Xiaomi 2204 2204 12161. Please join with your original name, else I will remove you from the meeting. Right. So with that, I'm going to start because we are already little bit delay on that. The purpose of this meeting is that we are going to start a new course on AWS Solution Architect. What topics today? First of all, let me explain you the agenda. Right? What is the agenda? We are going to discuss about cloud computing, right? Basic things. And then first of all, let me introduce myself. So that will be giving you idea. So who I am, why I'm delivering this course. My name is Ritesh. My complete name is Ritesh Bahl, and I do have 13 plus years of experience in software industry, right? So in 13 plus years of experience, I primarily work with cloud services, right? For 6 plus years of experience I have in AWS only, right? So 4 plus years I have spent with Microsoft Azure, right? And 2 plus years now with experience in GCP. In terms of certifications, I have many certifications with me, but I don't believe in only certifications because knowledge is the key in this industry. I hope everyone would be agree with me that knowledge is the key. Certification is just a piece of paper you are adding to your portfolio. That's it. Right. So on terms of certification, I have AWS Solution Architect certified, right? AWS Professional Architect certified, right? And then we have AWS DevOps certified. Apart from this, I have Microsoft Azure admin administrator, right? And then I have GCP, Google Cloud engineer, and GCP data engineer, and GCP professional architect, right? These are certifications I have. I'm planning for this year EKS, which is like you can say Kubernetes, CKS. I'm planning for it, CKS, right? And AWS data analyst, right? Data analytics is now being renamed to AWS data engineer, right? So this data analytics is going to be expired by April tripling, right? So that's the official date to retire 24. So we should go now for AWS data engineer. So this is brief about me. Now, before explaining the course of content that we are going to cover, I would like to know about yourself, your expectation, anything, starting from B. Dinesh Kumar, Adule, Edward, Francis, Gaurav Sharma, Giri. If you can just introduce yourself in the chat, that would be good for me to know about yourself also. If you can just quickly wrap up. Then I will be explaining you what topics we are going to cover, and then I will deliver you 20 to 20 minutes of 20 to 30 minutes of session so that you can see my delivery style also. And probably we are going to start this course from next week itself. That is going to take approximately 40 hours of course, right? That is going to take 40 hours. And in this 40 hours of course, we are going to deal with real-time examples, right? uh, Real-time examples. Can you explain about yourself, please, everyone? I hope you can hear me, right? Vijay, Vishal, Yadav, everyone. Okay, Giri says, I'm working as a software engineer in an SME, looking forward to explore my career in cloud. That's great. Giri, what kind of experience you have? I'm working as a senior manager in an SME. Let me unmute you. You can speak now. I unmuted you. If you're okay. Rest,
Hi.
Dinesh Kumar.
Hello.
I can hear you.
Yes. Okay. I'm working as a software manager, and I do have 10 years of experience in .NET development.
Mhm.
In that includes like from front end till the back end, full stack
So,
development.
okay, how much you know about the cloud?
I do have a basic experience in AWS cloud setup, like Route 53, and basic setups in IAM.
Okay,
So few services I have been going through so far. So I'm still exploring more towards getting into the certifications.
okay, fine. All right, rest. Sandeep Thakur, I'm working with the Brahmo Break India as an application support engineer. That's good to know. As you can send information about you, that will help me to understand better about you. So I was explaining about course of content, right? Course of content that we are going to cover here is targeting for AWS Solution Architect. This is going to be a course, right? So first of all, like I said, we are going to cover most of the real-time example that is related to the industry. I will be covering those examples during the course. That what we are going to cover is these topics. For example, fundamentals of cloud computing, which will give you flavor of why cloud computing is needed, what are the cloud computing service models, cloud computing deployment models, comparison between legacy applications, or you can say legacy infrastructure versus cloud infrastructure, what are the advantages, how to move these kind of applications, especially on the migration part. I have the very strong experience on migration part. So I have uh, 4+ years experience on only on migrations, right? So AWS migrations. AWS migrations, we are going to cover AWS migration service, right? Server migration service. Plus, we are going to cover AWS database migration service, right? Then we have AWS database data migration. You can say migration of service, right? So especially on this side, I will be sharing this experience with you guys so that you can understand why this AWS migration services are important for you to understand, right? Because a lot of migrations companies are migrating from one on-premises infrastructure to cloud. Then we are going to discuss see, this is just an introduction, right? Because I don't believe in knowing that this introduction, everybody knows that from the YouTube or Udemy courses. Our focus would be on understanding AWS. This is fine, right? Basic information. Then starting from this, each and everything we are going to do practically. How to create IAM users, how to create groups, what are policies, how to create a custom policies, right? What is multi-factor authentication, how to create a token that is going to expire in some time, right? What are the best practices of IAM? Then on the compute side, right? compute side, we have AWS Compute, EC2, Lambda, Lightsail, introduction to EC2 versus traditional services, how to create EC2, how to create EC2 with Linux, Ubuntu, Windows, right? In which cases you are going to create AMIs, what is the need of AMIs, how to configure user data for your EC2 instances, security groups, right? What is user data instance, metadata, hands-on, everything we are talking about will be including a hands-on, how to set up a web server on EC2 instance. Then ECS, which is Elastic Container Service. As everything is moving to containerization model, right? We are in trend of microservices, Docker containerization. So we are going to touch base this service also, which is very important, Elastic Container Service. Then AWS Lambda, right? In AWS Lambda itself, we have more than 40 hours of content. Definitely, we are not going to cover each and everything on Lambda, but we are going to touch base very important feature of AWS Lambda, like how to create layers, how to use environment variable, how to do blue or you can say blue-green deployment, how to attach Lambda with API gateway, that kind of things we are going to do in a real time. Then Lightsail, right? How to create the Lightsail instances and all. AWS load balancer again, right? Very important topic, load balancer and auto scaling. That also we are going to cover. And storage part, we are going to cover S3, EFX, right? EFS, which is Elastic File System that you can connect with your, you can say, Linux-based instances, right? And then storage gateway. Storage gateway is something which you are going to use storage gateway. For example, you want to connect your own premises storage with cloud, right? Then you are going to set up a storage gateway. In S3 storage part, we're going to discuss about S3 storage classes, consistency model, versioning of object, how to host a static website, how to create a lifecycle rule, what is S3 transfer escalation, how to connect S3 with the CloudFront, right? How to access S3 data from EC2 instances, what is EBS, what is EBS snapshot, right? So how to create timely snapshots, how to use EFS, directory service, storage gateway, right? These are being covered in storage part. Then coming back to very important topic for AWS solution architect, which is AWS virtual private cloud. We're going to cover how to create a VPC, how to create subnetting, how to use route tables, internet gateway, NAT gateway, right? These are because by default, what happens is when you create your AWS account, by default, one VPC would be created. But as the best practice says is we should create our own VPC, so that the reason behind creating the VPC is simple, because when AWS is creating your VPC, they are giving those VPC with public subnet, right? That's the reason that is not recommendable. Either you can change your subnet settings, you can block, you can remove the internet gateway. That is one thing if you really want to use the default gateway. But that's a general advice. If you can create a separate VPC, then it will be very good for you, right? That also we are going to cover in detail, right? Public, private, elastic IP addresses, internet gateway, NAT, creating managing NAT gateway, NAT instances even, right? People generally nowadays they are focusing more on the NAT gateways, but still you can create a NAT instances. That's not a problematic thing, right? You can do it still. NAT gateway gives you more, you can say granular control in the applications. Then NACL, right? NACL is something that we are going to handle traffic, right? Let's say when you create your EC2 instances, that EC2 instance you are going to create with security group, right? Security group can handle inbound rule, outbound rule. But when it comes to VPC, we have NACL that is going to control your traffic on the subnet level. We'll discuss in detail, but we are going to do each and everything with actual examples, VPC peering, VPC endpoint, how to set up VPN. For example, if we have to do a connectivity between Azure and AWS, how to do this connectivity, that also I will show you. Then RDS, how to create RDS, how to create backups, how to create snapshots, What are the differences? Security groups, DynamoDB, right, which is NoSQL database. Redshift also we are going to cover, right? Elastic Cache like Redis we are going to cover. Memcached we are going to cover, right? Then content delivery, which is CloudFront. In CloudFront, caching and validations, how to use cache hit ratio, what is the pricing model of for this cloud watch service, edge services we call it generally. Then monitoring part. This is very important for the people who are working on the production support role, right? How to monitor your services, how to read the logs. So we are going to cover CloudWatch, right? We are going to cover X-ray service, which is going to give a real-time information. So then AWS automation and platform services, we are going to cover cloud automation. In fact, cloud formation, we are going to cover plus Terraform, we are going to cover 5 to 6 examples so that at least you can understand about Terraform also, right? Terraform is generally not part of this one, but we are going to cover this. Then, like I said, AWS migration service, data migration service, server migration service, Snowball migration hub. Factory, somebody has asked this question, would do we need to cover migration factory? Factory is normally no, we are not going to cover because that factory setup is going to be a more, you can say it's a lot of steps are involved. It is going to take a lot of time, but I can give you those examples that how factory is going to be different from this data or this server migration service. In server migration service, we just need to give the you can say service details, right? Server details. There are a lot of steps are manual, but in case of this migration factory is going to do a lot of things. But normally what happens in migration factory, they are going to ask you admin level details. And this is quite I would say not acceptable by the clients because they are not okay to give these level of details to anyone, admin level details. But still we'll discuss about this. This is my core area. I really want to discuss on these topics in detail. Then security, like everybody is focusing on cloud services. It becomes very important to know about the cloud security also. We are going to discuss security, shared responsibility model, which defines what customer will own and what will be owned by AWS, right? So what is cloud compliance? What is artifact? What is AWS config service? What is AWS inspector and trusted advisor? AWS personal health dashboard, AWS WEF and Shield, Direct Connect, identity providers and federation, AWS single sign-on, directory service, AWS Mackie, these services, right? DNS, when it comes to DNS service, Route 53, the domain registration, health check, right? Then DynamoDB real-time examples, cloud management services, and then these are like AWS SNS, SQS, Kinesis, CLI, command line, SQS, billing part. This is what we are going to cover, right? All these services we are going to cover. And today example, I am going to demonstrate you because as of now, you want to see my delivery style. So I will be taking one topic, right, which is EFS. I really don't know how much of you know basic cloud computing. I will take the example accordingly. How many of you are completely fresher here who don't know what is cloud computing, who don't know what is EC2? Because EC2 example is very straightforward. I don't want to take that example, but if somebody is there, then I'll take that one also. But I want to take example of EFS, Elastic File System. How many of you say this is fine for you, right? Or you want to me to cover very basic topic of what is cloud, right? Or why we need a cloud. If I go that way, definitely we are going under the course, we are going to cover these topics, what is cloud, benefit of cloud. But as of now, I can show you how I teach that topic. I can show you in Elastic File System. Will it be okay for you? Or you want me to take something else? Let's make it open, right? Let's talk about it. Instead of I'm picking the example, you can tell me what topic you want to know. You want to cover VPC, you want to cover EFS or anything. Anyone here? Balu Yadav, Ismail, Nishant, Sumit, anything your choice, Sandeep, or should I cover with elastic file system? How many of you know basics of cloud computing? How many of you know what is EC2? Tell me, guys. Who speaks anything? Okay, let me take EC2 example then. If you're not speaking, guys, let me know. Elastic Compute Cloud. Let me cover this one. Elastic Compute Cloud then. I don't know. You're okay or not, because nobody is responding. Let's cover this topic. Let's understand first of all EC2, right? We're not going to discuss what is cloud computing, how it is going to be benefit for you, because I hope everybody knows about it, because you want to see how I'm going to deliver the topics. That is what you can see with my delivery style. So we are going to cover this service called EC2, right? So when it comes to AWS, full form of AWS is Amazon Web Services, right? Amazon Web Services. In AWS, we have many type of services options available. One is compute, another is storage services, another is database services, right? Then we have networking services. Then we have CI/CD tools, right? Then we have machine learning services. Then we have analytics services. So many types of services options available. How you can see those services? Let me show you. I'm going to my AWS account. In my AWS account, let me log into my AWS account. And here, this is the interface. On this interface, right, you can see these services. Once I click on these services, you can see these are analytics services. These are application integration services, blockchain related services, business applications, cloud financial management, compute services, container services, customer enablement services, database services, which are going to database variety, right? You can say database, multiple data type options are available. In which case you are going to use which one? That depends on your use case to use case, right? Definitely, we are not going to touch base all 350 plus services in Amazon. Definitely, we are not going to touch. That is what I am explaining here. We are going to cover important services that are important from the AWS solution architect. But we have the different courses available, right? AWS DevOps is completely different. AWS migration is completely different. AWS specialist on VPC is different. AWS specialist on RDS is different, right? AWS has multiple streams on that. But here we are going to touch base all important services in solution architect, right? Like I said, in compute category, compute means computing, right? In compute category, we have App Runner, Batch, EC2, Image Builder, Elastic Beanstalk, Lambda, Lightsail, multiple services are available. But let's discuss first service, which is very important service, virtual server in the cloud. How this service is going to be helpful for you. For an example, if you are in need of servers, right? If you are in need of servers, then definitely we are going to use this. For example, what happens is this is your company, right? Inside the company, you are going to make one software, right? To make that software, what things you need? First of all, you need a hardware, right? You need a hardware. On top of hardware, what you need is software, right? Right? After software, what you need is networking, right? Or you can say after hardware, networking comes, then software comes, right? You can change the order. Networking comes and then comes software. And after that, we have database, then CI/CD deal tools. Lot of other options are available. So when it comes to hardware, this is what cloud computing is. So this cloud computing resolves the problem of your hardware part. So companies don't need to spend their money on hardware now, right? Because AWS is giving all these services in terms of storage, computing, they are giving over the cloud, over the URL. This is what cloud computing is. Here I'm logged in my AWS account. This is cloud computing. It is very straightforward, right? So if I am in need of computing, so what I will do, I will go to AWS console, right? And in on the AWS console, AWS has their infrastructure at you can say in the background they have the entire infrastructure. So how they are making their infrastructure is, let's suppose this is going to be a first thing we need to understand is region. This is AWS region is. Region means they have geographic location. Geographic location. Geographic location. On geographic location, we have availability zone. So how many zones are available, how many regions are available, that we are going to discuss. But the thing is, the meaning of availability zone is the AWS is creating multiple availability zone in a single region. So first question comes in mind, Ritesh, why AWS is creating multiple availability zone like this? In most of the time, what will happen if you go to AWS documentation, aws.amazon.com, right? If you go to AWS documentation and if you see the AWS products, or you can say global infrastructure of AWS, you will get to know that AWS is creating these regions at multiple places, right? So let me go directly to AWS regions, or you can say AWS global infrastructure. So if you go to this list, right here, you can see as of now, AWS is having 33 launch regions, each with multiple availability zones. We generally call it AZs, and 105 availability zones, right? And 600 point of presence, which is 13 regional edge cases. We will discuss about this later. But as of now, if you see what locations it is available, you can see this blue one. Blue one means because they have launched their services in multiple areas, Canada Central, Canada West, right? AWS Government Cloud. And then we have this one, plan, we have Spain, we have Mumbai, we have Hyderabad, we have Injixia, right? We have Beijing, we have Jakarta, and this red one is a coming soon. Malaysia and Thailand are coming soon, and this Germany is also coming soon, right? Gradually, they are increasing their scope, or you can say increasing their area. But why it is important for you to understand being a solution architect, or you can say developer, you need to understand how it is going to be important for you to choose the region. First of all, when you are working with AWS, you need to choose the region basis on 3 or 4 factors. One of the factors that I'm going to include here, when we are going to choose a region, we are going to see how that service is available or not. You can say, first of all, nearest location, right? You need to see nearest location, and then we need to see service availability, service availability, right? Then we need to see service costing, right? Service costing. These factors you will see when you are going to create your, or how to choose the right region in AWS. These are the factors you are going to consider: nearest location, service availability, and costing, right? So Coming back to this one availability zone, what happens is this is region, which is geographic location, and this is availability zone. So why AWS is creating three availability zone? The answer is, see, under the availability zone, they have multiple data centers, right? They have multiple data centers. This is one data center. This is another data center, another data center, another data center, right? How many data centers are available? They are not disclosing this information on a public channels, right? They are not disclosing this information on a public channels. How many data centers are available? Can I even on the user interface or CLI when you're going to work with AWS, you cannot choose the data center. The only thing you can choose is you can choose the region, you can choose the availability zone, but you cannot choose data center. You cannot choose data center, right? I will show you when you go to interface, this is what the region is. You can see all of the regions, Mumbai, right? Hyderabad, Northern Virginia, Ohio, Oregon, Osaka, Seoul, Singapore, Sydney, right? Some of the regions, these are 12 regions that are not enabled for my account, right? You have to enable the region if you want to work with that particular region, right? So as of now, this not enabled, right? So this is what AWS infrastructure is. We can call it global infrastructure of it, or you can say global footprint of AWS. Global footprint of AWS. This is what it is. Any questions, guys, so far? Any questions you can ask if you have any questions? Then I will explain you what is EC2 and how we are going to create our first EC2 machine. So far, any questions you have? All right, if no questions, let's move on to next part. Let's discuss about what is EC2, right? So what is EC2 is? EC2, as I said, this is Elastic Compute Cloud. So when I say Elastic Compute Cloud, so in many sources, AWS is going to use this keyword elastic. What is the meaning of this elastic? Elasticity, right? Simply it is going to be stretched down, stretch out according to demand. That is what they are going to use in many services of AWS. Elastic. Compute cloud. So what is it? It is a virtual machine. Virtual machine service. Simple. Virtual machine. I hope everybody knows what is virtual machine. Virtual machine is just a machine. That's it. So what AWS is doing, let's assume this is AWS data center, right? This is AWS data center. On this data center, AWS has many machines, right? Physical machines, you can say. This is big physical machine available on AWS, right? It's a big machine. So what happens, being a customer, if somebody says, hey, AWS, right, I'm going to need one Windows server and I'm giving you capacity of that Windows server. For example, what I'm looking for is 16 GB of RAM, right? And I'm looking for 500 GB of SSD hard disk, right? And what I'm looking for is 4-core machine or 6-core machine, whatever you say, right? I'm saying 4-core CPU machine I'm looking for. And what I'm looking for is operating system as Windows or operating system as Linux. It's your personal choice, company to company, right? So I'm looking for this machine. Then what AWS is going to do, they have already installed one virtualization tool in their data center. They have installed one virtualization tool, that is hypervisor. In case of AWS, they are installing hypervisor on these machines. And when AWS, this customer is saying, I need this much of instance, what AWS is going to do, they are going to cut down this portion of the machine, not physically. They're not going to cut this physically. They're just going to cut down this portion with this software called hypervisor. and they are giving to this customer, right? But they are not giving this physical entity. Again, they are giving is virtual. That's the reason we call it virtual machine, right? It's a virtual machine they are giving to customer. So all the things will be virtually, but what customer will get, how customer will connect using public IP and private IP. They will give two kind of IPs. If you want to be that machine to available on the web, then you can access that machine with public IP. If you don't, if you just want to access that particular machine under your VPC or your network only, then it is going to use private IP. Fine. Now I will show you one example that how you are going to create Windows-based machine in AWS. I will go to AWS console. Here you need to search for EC2. Either you can go to services, you can click in compute section, and you can search, you can just click on virtual servers in the cloud. Click on EC2. Once you click on EC2, this dashboard, on this dashboard, it is showing you the instances running as of now is 0. Auto scaling group is also 0. Dedicated host is 0. Elastic IP is 0. Right? We are going to discuss many things here on this part, right? AMI, volume, snapshot, lifecycle manager, elastic IP, key pairs, network interfaces, load balancer, auto scaling with real-time examples. So we are going to launch instance. You can see this option. Click on launch instance, right? So this is the window. Here on this window, I'm giving a name as, for example, first machine I'm going to create in our case is window machine, right? Window machine. Then scroll down. It is asking you Amazon machine image. What is this Amazon machine image? It is a template. It is a template that contains a software configuration like operating system, application server, and applications to launch the instance. Generally, what happens is when you go to shop and you go to buy a laptop, generally what you say, hey, I'm looking for Linux-based machine or Windows-based machine or Mac-based machine, right? So here I'm saying I'm looking for Windows-based machine. So they have already given many AMIs, right? They've given many AMIs already. So this is from Microsoft Windows. And in AMI, we have multiple variants available. 2022 base, 2019 base, right? Which version you want to use. As of now, the latest one is available in Microsoft Windows Server 2022 core, this one, right? So I'm going to use this Microsoft Windows Server 2022 base. Then scroll down, it says instance type. In instance type, it is giving you a lot of options like 1 GB, 2 GB, 4 GB, right? So what is this? So this is EC2 family types. In EC2 family types, general purpose, compute optimized, memory optimized, multiple variants are available. Like I've given the example of buying the laptop. If you go and search the online laptop, you will get a lot of qualities, right? In hardware. Similarly, this is the option. When you are going to create a compute, AWS is giving you a lot of options in terms of this M series, Mac series, M6 series, T series, right? T2 series. In this example, if I go with, let's say, M7 series, in M7 series, they are giving these options. 1 CPU, 2 CPU, memory, right? This memory, how much memory you are looking for? 48. In this example, 48 is a CPU. V means virtual CPU. 48, right? And 192 is a GB, right? Here 64 is the vCPU and 256 is the, you can say, RAM. General purpose means which is a mix of compute, memory, and storage. So click on compute optimized. In compute optimized, it is a compute optimized where performance would be good, right? So performance would be good. Number of CPUs would be good. 32 CPUs, 48 CPU, 64 CPU, right? 64 CPU. Then memory optimized, where memory will be good. So memory is like 8 GB, 16 GB, 32, 64, 128 GB, 256, 384, right? Multiple instances are there. High memory, if you go see this, how much capacity we have, 24,576 GB of RAM, which is very advanced, right? Bare metal instance. Fine. So multiple categories are there. As of now, we are going to understand with 4 GB of example. In your case, if you're working with your AWS free tier account, then you have to make sure you are using only 1 GB memory. 4 GB memory, we are going to take 2 CPU. So key pair, you can use a key pair to surely connect to your instance. Ensure that you have access to selected key pair before you launch the instance. We are going to create a new key pair, and in this key pair, I'm going to give any name. Why I'm selecting this key pair is because later on, when we are going to retrieve a password for our Windows machine, AWS is going to ask your identity. And through this key pair, AWS is going to attend your identity. For when AWS is creating this key pair, actually two keys will be created. One internally private key, right? Private key AWS will give to you, and there will be a one public key. So public key AWS will attain on that particular machine. So let me create this key. For example, I'm just giving a name as key one, right? I'm going to create a key pair. Key pair is created. You can see this key pair. Click on it. This is a private key, right? Private key AWS is giving to you so that once it is needed, you will give this key back to AWS. I will show you. Networking. Here networking, like I said, networking by default, every AWS account. In fact, every region has a separate VPC, right? So this is separate VPC. So click on edit. We are going to say this is VPC, and subnet we are not going to change anything. We are not going to change anyway as of now. Let's leave as it is. Auto sign public IP enable, because I want a public IP. That's why I'm choosing this auto sign public IP to be enabled. Security group. What is security group? Security group is very important part. Security group. So security group is a combination of inbound and outbound rules, right? So what is inbound rules? What can come to your computer, right? In terms of port, that is the inbound rule. It is outbound rule. What your computer, what your device can access from and which ports. That is called outbound rules. So security group is a combination of inbound and outbound rules. See, this is creating security group rule. So as of now, we are going to create a new security group. But as we work with production applications, we are not going to create this security group every other day, right? So one of the team will create a new security group, and that you are going to use existing security group that is going to list down here, right? In my case, I have many security group already available. But let's make it easy, and we are going to create a new security group, and we can give a name as EC2-demo, EC2-demo-1, right? But you can use any other name according to your project requirement. This is inbound rule. By default, outbound, all rules will be allowed, right? But inbound rules, only one rule is allowed, which is RDP TCP port, and which is going to connect on 3389 port. It's up to you how you want to handle it. But in a real-time scenario, this is not going to be anywhere. This is going to be a my IP or your custom VPC range. You are going to define your range in VPC in a real time, right? So that only traffic is allowed from your VPC. But as of now, I'm saying anywhere, which is 0.0.0 slash z. That means all traffic is allowed. This is storage. By default, on Windows 10, AWS is going to give 30 GB of storage. When it comes to storage, in storage, we have multiple type of storage options available. One is general purpose SSD, GP3, GP2, IO1, right? And then we have provision IOPS, cold HDD. These are different sort of example. For example, if you ask me, Ritesh, in which example we are going to use which one, these are general purpose, right? If you're going to move, let's say 100 GB of data, 200 GB of data, 300 GB of data, 400 GB of data on a daily basis, then this is fine for you. But if you're saying, hey, I have a petabyte of data that I'm going to transfer per day, obviously this general purpose is not going to be resolve your problem. You need to use provision one. Provision one comes with lot of IOPS, input output processing speed, right? So this is going to be a later, you can say advanced, but this is advanced to advanced. You can say IOPS level is going to be very high, like 100,000 IOPS per second. But cost is also going to increase drastically. So make sure when you're doing this example, you're going to use GP3 only or GP2 only, right? All right, let me create this instance now. So here number of instances, how much number of instances you want to create. I'm saying launch number of instances, right? So click on this instances, right? So this is now creating, right? So here you can see name of your machine, window machine. This is instance ID, right? Which is uniquely identified. Then we have instance state. Instance state is, as of now, if I refresh, it is pending, right? Instance type, like I said, it has multiple categories. So what we have used T2.medium, right? If I scroll down to the right, it will show you alarm status, availability zones, public IPv4 DNS, public IPv4 DNS, this address, elastic IP, IPv6 IP, monitoring, security group, all the information. If I click on this particular row, here you will see more details, status and alarms, right? Earlier, the status and alarms was not here, but now they have moved at a second place itself in last reinvent only. La reinvent is the program that is going to happen every year, and the AWS is going to launch many services in that. So as of now, you can see the status of this machine is like instance status is pending. If I go refresh, it is showing you instant status is running, right? And this is showing you status check as initializing. So what is the meaning of this initializing is, this is initializing as of now, right? So if I come to this status check, it is showing you two status here. One is system status, another is instance status. What is the meaning of this system status? If you go to my diagram, I've told you this is a physical server, right? So I'm just giving a name as physical server. So this physical server health is denoted by system status check. And this instance status check is this virtual machine status. So that's the reason AWS is showing you two status in start, which is system status, right? And instance status. So as of now, both are initializing. If I refresh now, you can see system reachability check pass, and this is also pass. That's why AWS is showing you 2/2, 2 out of 2 check pass. That means your machine is up and running, and now you can connect with this machine. So what I'll do, I'll click on connect, right? I'll go to RDP. I'll download the RDP, right? I'll click on this, double click on this, and click on connect. So once you click on connect, here you go, click on your instance and retrieve the password, because it is asking for password now, right? By default, username is going to be administrator. So we are going to actions. We are going to work with this window machine. What is the key? Key one, right? So this key one, open this key one and decrypt the password. So copy this password and go and use this password to log in on this machine. See, I'm going to log in on this machine now, right? I have logged in on my first window machine, which is virtual machine. Straightforward. I hope you are following everyone, right? All right, this is machine, right? On this machine, we are going to install IS. Now this is your machine. You can check the RAM and everything, right? Windows. If you right click on it, you just go to properties and you will find the details like 4 GB RAM is there, right? Device name is this. This is Intel Xeon processor. CPU is this 2 GHz 64-bit operating system. Windows Server 2022 data center, right? And it has 30 GB of volume, right? In case you want to add another volume, we have elastic block store. So what you will do, you will go to another service. Here it is, elastic block store, right? Volumes. We are going to create a volume. As of now, you can say 30 GB's volume is available, right? We are going to create another volume. But before creating a volume, you need to make sure where your instance is being created. For an example, if I go to instances, right, in my instance is being created in which region? This is Mumbai and AP South 1B is the availability zone. So I'll go to volume. In volume, I'm going to create a 10 GB volume for the, you can say just for testing 10 GB volume I'm going to create, and at which availability zone? AP South 1B. That's it. I'm going to create a volume. So once I create the volume, that volume you can attach to your instance. Select that particular volume. Here I'm giving a name as app VM. This is data volume, right? So it's always better to give them meaningful name. Here I'm giving app VM root volume, right? This is my root volume. This is my data volume. So now what I'll do, I will attach this data volume to my instance. So how I'm going to attach this volume to my instance? Let's refresh, right? It is available now, right? So select this, go to actions and attach the volume. Which instance you want to attach? Window machine that is running, right? So attach the volume. Once you attach the volume, you need to go to your machine. Here you need to click on computer management, right? Because when you are going to add the volume, it will not be directly shown to you. You have to click on this computer management, right? Go to computer management and you need to add that volume, because when you added a volume, by default it will be added in a offline state. You have to make it online. Go to disk management. In disk management you can see 30 GB is available, but this is 10 GB is offline. Right click on it, make it online, initialize the disk, click on OK, right click, right, and right click on it, new simple volume, click on next. How much space you want to give, click on next. Which drive letter you want to give, let's say K drive, click on next. What name you want to give? I'm giving a name as data volume 1, data volume 1, click on next, next, and finish. Now if you go to your part C drive, right, you will also find D drive here, sorry, K drive, right? I have given a name as K drive. So you can see this is 10 GB. Perfectly fine. Any questions so far? Any questions, guys, so far? Any questions so far? Okay, Yadav has raised a hand. Let me unmute you. Yadav, I have unmuted you. Can ask your question. Yadav.
Yeah, so we are not able to unmute and not able to ping also. If it is possible, at least enable the chat.
Yeah, chat is enabled. I can see people are sending the messages.
No, after that it was disabled. Now I can see chat disabled. Yeah. Now,
Chat is enabled. Hmm.
yeah, now
Any
it is.
questions, Vidya?
No, for now it is fine
Okay.
for this thing only.
Are you
Thank.
following what I'm teaching, right?
Please.
Okay. I don't know what your full name is. It's showing you Cree only. So I have unmuted you. You can ask your question.
Yeah, thanks for that. My name is Krishna.
Okay.
Actually, the question is, are we able to create a template related to our organization in AWS? A
Are we going
customized
to?
template related to us. I mean, if we want any customized template for our organization, can we able to create it?
Yes, yes. There is an option when you go to launch template. For example, the meaning of this launch template is we are going to create this template for a scenarios. Let's say some junior developers are there. You don't want to give the full control of EC2 to them, right? What you can do is you can just launch the template, right? Go to launch template and create a template. Here it is just a name, right? For an example, I'm saying VM prod template, right? So it is going to as version. I'm giving a, let's say, prod version. Then it is going to ask configuration. In here, configuration, I'm saying I want to create Windows instance.
Mhm.
And then you want to take what type. For example, I want to take 2 GB of instance. Then we are going to create a key pair. For example, AB12345. Create a key pair. Then network setting, we are going to take this subnet and we are going to create new security group, new test SG1. Then we are going to create volumes is everything is fine. Just create a template. So once your template, just say loud, right? And create a template. So once you create a template, instead of creating the EC2 directly, what you can do is you can choose this option, launch instance from template. There's this option is there, launch instance. Now this time I'm choosing this, launch instance from template. So it is
So,
going to list down all the template.
okay, if you want
So
to upgrade that template,
yes, that also you can do. You can go to the same template, right? What was the name I have given? This one, right? You can create a different version. So you go to actions and modify the template. For example, this was the last was for the production. Now I want to create for the UAT, right? For example, I want to create this version for the UAT one. So I will mention UAT here. What things
no,
you want to change?
my
For
intention
example,
is,
mhm.
suppose I want specific patch to be installed on the template, that kind of scenarios.
No, no, that patch will not be part of this template. Patch will
Okay.
be part of your EMI.
Okay.
That will not be, this is only template,
Okay.
but you can update the template details, right? Now you have two templates, two
Mhm.
different version of it. So when you go to instances, you can go to launch instances from template. Here, if you mention the template as VM prod template, if you're choosing production one, right? So production configuration will come, right? In production, I have given 2 GB of RAM. If I am going to choose here UAT, so it is going
Mhm.
to list down 4 GB of systems.
Is that these all VMs, whatever we created now, I mean, from these templates, those are all are updated with the latest patches generally?
Yes.
Okay, okay, thanks. Mhm.
All right.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay. Any more questions, guys, we have? Okay. So similarly, okay, we have question. Okay, no. So we are going to, what we are going to do is this time we have just done this part. So what I'll do next is I will go to this, right? And here, what we are going to do is we are going to install web server, right? I hope you guys know what is web server, but web server is a way to convert your machine to like a web server. During all my trainings, like I said, we'll be taking multiple examples, real-time examples. I will be taking a help from this GitHub link. This is my GitHub link where all the labs are listed. You will get all the labs instructions day by day. This is related to AWS backup, CloudFormation, DynamoDB labs, S3 labs, SSM, Terraform template, right? So, certification questions we are going to discuss, RDS, shell scripting, study notes, use cases, and these are the basically labs that I'm going to refer. For example, as of now, what I'm doing is I'm going to install server manager. On the server manager, going to install IIS, which is Internet Information Server. So what I'll do, I'll click on this add roles and features. This is going to take some time in loading. Let's wait for a few seconds. Click on add roles and features. This will say this is collecting the inventory data. So let's wait for a couple of seconds. This is okay. Click on add roles and features. Click on next, next, next. Right. Then we are going to install web server IIS. Select this feature, which is a window feature, and click on next, next, next. There's no learning curve here. It's just a manual steps, right? Just do this. Once this IIS is being installed properly, what we will do, we'll take the public IP, right? And we will connect with this IIS default page. When we are installing IIS, Microsoft is going to add one default page of IIS welcome page. And if you use your public IP on port 80, you will be able to see that particular website, right? So this is going to take some time. During the time, what I'll do, I'll go to my EC2 instance. I'll copy the public IP. Like I said, there are two type of IP available. One is public IP, one is private IP, right? Private IP is coming from your VPC. Like I said, every account, every AWS region has one VPC, right? If you come to this VPC, here you will find your VPC detail. This is VPC, right? But advice is when you're going for the customer related application or enterprise applications, we are going to create a new VPC, right? Go to instances. This is the instance. Copy this public IP and try to hit this public IP over the URL and see website is working or not working. As of now, it is not working. First of all, check the installation is succeeded or not. It is succeeded. Fine, let's close the window. But why it is not working? The reason is our security group rules are not allowing the traffic on port 80 as of now. Like I said, we are only adding 3389, which is RDP, Remote Desktop Protocol. So if I go to instances, if I go to security, if I click on this one security group, so here it is going to show you inbound rule, right? Inbound rule, outbound rule. Outbound rule, all traffic allowed by all protocols, right? But inbound rules, it is not allowed. Only RDP is allowed. So I'm going to edit this. I'm going to add a rule, which protocol I'm going to use HTTP, which port automatically comes as a 80 and traffic is allowed from everywhere. The 0.0.0/0 meaning is everywhere. Click on save. Once you save and refresh this change, here you will see internet services page is coming. That means our default website is up and running now, right? But like I said, we are living in the automation era, right? Nobody wants to do these kind of things manually. What I'll do through automation now. So what I'll do, click on instances, launch the instance, and we are going to launch instance through automation. This time I will be creating one EC2 machine, but on that EC2 machine, I will not be installing IIS manually. I will be installing through script, right? So I'm going to hit window instance auto. I'm giving name as auto. We are going to use Windows, right? We are going to work with Microsoft Windows Server 2022 base. We are going to work with this time 2 GB of RAM and key pair. We can use existing key pair also. That's not a thing that you have to create every time new key pair. That's not a thing. We are going to create new anyway. Network setting is fine. Allow the traffic on HTTP port also. And this time I'm using this advanced detail section. On advanced detail, scroll down to the last. Here you will find user data. On this user data, I'm going to my GitHub link and I'm going to copy one script, right? So I'm going to the script. Let me show you where that script is. Insert IAS window user data. I'm going to copy the script, which is very straightforward. PowerShell script I'm going to copy, and we are going to use this script here. The meaning of user data is when you are running this command under the user data, that command is going to be run for the first time only, right? That command is going to be run for the first time only. So what I'm doing in this command is we're going to install Windows feature -name web server include management tools new path C initpub www root index.html, and we are going to display hello world page on it, right? Just launch the instance. Now this instance will be launched in 2-3 minutes. Till the time, let me have any questions you have. We have already discussed if somebody is joining the late. We have a plan to cover all these services in detail. We are going to start this session. This is briefly about me, what kind of experience I'm holding, right? And we are going to start this course probably from next week, which is 20th. What will be the time? Time would be 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Again, Standard Time, right? So we are going to cover these entire things in 40 hours of time frame, right? On the daily basis, we are going to discuss 1.1 I would say 1.5 hours we are going to give on topic plus 30 minutes we are going to do on interview preparations, right? Plus certifications we're going to discuss. For certifications, we have more than 7,800 questions available on my GitHub. You can see that also, right? If you go to this one, cert exams, in certification exam, we have many certification exam available, right? Cloud practitioner, then we have data analytics. These all are AWS one, right? Database, machine learning, solution architect, professional architect, right? SysOps, everything is available. So we are going to discuss day by day. For example, today we are going to discuss one topic EC2. We are going to discuss many things on that particular set. For example, this one. I'm going to display some of the questions to you. We'll discuss that. For example, what does the AWS storage gateway provide? We are going to discuss it provides encrypted SSL endpoint for backups in the cloud. No. It is a direct encrypted connection to S3. No. Storage gateway has nothing to do with Amazon S3. It is a backup solution that use the on-premises storage. No, it allows one to integrate on-premises IT environment with cloud storage. That's the right answer, D. We'll discuss why it is incorrect answer. That way you are going to learn more about the things, right? So we are going to discuss 5 to 10 questions every single session. Like this, we have 7,800 questions. Obviously, we cannot discuss each and every question, but our goal will be that so that we can make interactive sessions instead of just one is speaking and you are doing nothing. That will not be a boring sessions for you also. Now, if I go to instances and refresh, so you can see that instance is ready. Now copy the public IP and hit this public IP in the window. You will see on this by default, hello world pages showing you, right? Hello world page. Perfect, right? Any questions, guys, we have? If you have any questions you have, you can contact on this number, right? Let me show you the number, right? So even you can just go to website address. And go to this, right? You can call on this number anytime to get the information, anything about thing you want to ask. You can call on this number, or you can WhatsApp on this number, right? Kishore, that you can do it, right? It's very straightforward. If you in IT and if you're asking for that link has nothing. You can see that, right? github.com. What is the matter of noting down this link? So use this link. All right, any more questions we have? I'm good for today. I'm going to delete these instances now, terminate. When I'm terminating these instances, make sure one thing that you have created one dedicated EBS volume separately, right? That volume will not be deleted automatically. So if I refresh, now you can see 3 volumes are there, right? And sometime you will see there is only 1 volume left, right? Let's refresh. And sometime you will see only 1 volume is left. And that volume you have to delete explicitly. Refresh, now you can see only 1 is left, and that is showing you available. That will not be deleted automatically. Those volumes are deleted because those are part of EC2. Now we have to delete this data volume. Go to actions and delete the volume and delete. You currently have no volumes in this region. Refresh. Refresh. That's it. Any questions for me, guys? Sumukha, Vijay, Yadav, Mohit, Rajput, Krishna, Kishore, Giri, Dinesh Kumar. Any question for me? If no, if you have any query later on, you can contact on this number, WhatsApp on this number. You will get the course curriculum. We are going to start next week. That week is going to have 40 hours. For fees and everything, you can directly talk to Amit. His name is Amit, right? You can talk to Amit. All right. But like I said, if you want to take one more example of one more class, you can join one more class in a free of cost, and then you can decide. But all completely real-time examples would be there. All right, with that, I'm good. I'm signing off for today. Thank you very much for listening me, right? But if you have any questions for me, feel free to ping Amit and Amit will connect a call with me. Thank you very much, guys, and take care.